Hello? Is this working? Jeez. This is so unorganized. Hold on. Okay, right. The slide dev breaks for me, isn't it? That's not what I want. Okay. Right. Welcome. So, unless anyone tells me that something's going wrong, I'm just going to get started. So, today we're going to be exploring Routify inside of SvelteKit. So, I guess it's easiest to get us started with what is Routify. So, Routify is a router. It's based on your file system, which, for those of you who use SvelteKit, you'll be familiar with it. We've been around for quite a while, since Sapper, for those of you who remember that. And the real question a lot of people ask is, why would you want to use Routify inside of SvelteKit as opposed to just their default router? And there's quite a few different reasons, and they basically come down to we want everything that Routify has and everything that SvelteKit has, and we want them together because SvelteKit brings the adapters, the backend, SSR, the community, and just to name a few things, Routify brings customizability. Like you can generate navigation, you can do build time and runtime metadata. So like code splitting, persistent metadata. You have full control over the router. So if you want multiple routers on the same page, you can have that. I think the main reason people want to do this is like widgets and stuff, but there's been like use cases where applications just simply don't work without multiple routers. We have decorators. So you can do things like page transitions, and you can get some really fancy stuff. So to get started, you want to have your SvelteKit project, and you want to install Routify. You want to make sure you're installing at next because we're going to be using Routify 3, because Routify 2 doesn't support SvelteKit, and Routify 3, while it's in beta, it's still very powerful. And then in your svelteconfig.js, you want to import Routify because we have a Vite plugin, and then you just add this down here, and you want to make sure you set your routes directory to pages. Now, just like SvelteKit by default, it's set to routes, but that will, because of the way we have to add Routify, that will actually conflict with SvelteKit. And then in our index.svelte, we need to add a context module. And for those of you who's used the load function, this will be very familiar with to you. We import Routify. We import the routes, which is generated by the Vite plugin. And this is just like, it's kind of like a manifest of all your routes. We create a router. We'll load this router down here. It's just a Svelte component. And we also need to basically tell SvelteKit to wait for Routify to be done before rendering the page. And if you're struggling to follow this along, I'll be showing you an actual demo project in a minute, and you can also just skip having to do all of this yourself by using our CLI, which has a SvelteKit template. And then all of your pages, just like SvelteKit, they will have a directory, and for Routify, this will be pages. So let me show you how to get started. So just get rid of all of this. You want to pull up a terminal and go to your desktop, font bigger, and you want to run npm init Routify. So this is our CLI. You have access to Routify 3 and Routify 2. So for this, you want to select Routify 3. And we want to actually put a project name. So let's just call it Sirens. So Routify 3, and then you want to select example project. Skeleton project would just be Routify 3 on its own. And then you can select SvelteKit. And then if we just open that in VS Code, you'll see this is just a regular Svelte app. We have our Svelte config, and you'll see we have our Routify plugin, and we have our pages here. So if I was to run this by first of all npm install, can you still hear me? I just realized my headphones died like 2 minutes ago. I'm not sure how. If you can you hear me? Okay, cool. Right. So where was I? So cool. If we just pull up this in our browser, you'll see we have just this boilerplate, and this is exactly the same as a SvelteKit. You just have your route index svelte, and we have this. Okay, so I think that one of the best ways to show off some of the stuff Routify can do would be to do generated navigation. And basically what this means is instead of having to manually write out your navigation, so like the different links to your pages, you can just read straight from your route tree. So all of the things you got in the pages directory here. So if we just create some example pages, so we obviously have this A route here. We can also create like sub pages. So like hello, just do hello index.svelte like that. Then just bear with me. We can do. Okay, so what we want to do is we're going to create a navigation component. So this would just be like a nav component. So exactly like we would in SvelteKit, we can create nav.svelte here. And then what's special about Routify is we have access to the entire node tree with different helpers. So if we create a underscore module file, which is the SvelteKit equivalent of a layout, the reason we call it a module is because a layout kind of makes you think it's just for design, but actually there's so much more you can do in these, and they're incredibly powerful. So we wanted to give it in like kind of a name that reflects that. In here, we're going to import our nav component. We're going to do our slot, so the page renders in this slot, and we're just going to put in our nav component. We're also going to pass down a node. Basically, what a node is a page. It's just like a fancy word for a page. And we can import the node helper from Routify. And this is a store, so we just use the $sign sugar. We just pass that down to the nav. And then in our nav component, we can do export let node, and we're now just passing the node down to the nav. So the node in this module is going to be whatever page it's called from. So we can then do we can do an unordered list. Obviously, you're going to want to make this more fancy in your actual applications, but for the purpose of this, a list is perfectly fine. We're going to do a list element, and so this is basically going to go over every single child. So if we was in the root of the pages, so we here, every child's going to be in index A, page, hello, and index. But if we called it from A, it's just going to be page and hello index. It is relative to what you called. So, and then we're going to just do a href with the child path, which is just, for example, if we're in the index, it's just going to be slash. If we're in hello, it's just going to be slash hello, etc. And then we're going to put in the child name, which is just the file name. And then if we was to have a look at the result of this in the browser, which is not anywhere to be found, brilliant. So local 3000 by default. See, we've got a page here, which we can just comment this stuff out for now. Second. Run SvelteKit dev. It's definitely on 3000. Here we go. Now it's here for some reason. Not sure. We got a and index, which matches exactly what we have in our files. Now, the thing with this is this only goes on the top level, so it's only showing us a and index, but we want it to go all the way down. So then we can say in this li, if this child node has children, so if it has more routes, and the trick we can do is dot length, but this would be the same as is greater than 0. So we can do svelte self, which is basically just a way of importing using the same component, but we could do import nav from dot slash nav, right, which would just be the same as importing itself, and then pass it down child here. And if we rerun this and we do this correctly, child, you see we have this nested navigation. I'm not sure. There's so many uses for this, and obviously this nested part is optional. And then you can just click around. Obviously, since this is in the module, it's going to be on all the pages, unless you use a reset. As we can see, this page here just happens to have this content, and that's being rendered. But yeah, that's that. 1 second. So that's one of the cool features of Routify. But yeah, is there any questions so far?
That's really awesome that it lets you do the nested navigation like that. I just added myself back in so I could ask a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could style that differently, right? You could use CSS
Yep.
and just style that out and make it look however you want, but it just generates the nav. That's really awesome. I like that a lot.
A good thing might be to show you is one of our helpers called isActive. What that allows you to do is it allows you to see if a specific page is the active one. So if we just create a style tag, we do li.active, which means if a list element has an active class, then we just do color red, for example, if we give all of the LIs this class, they're all going to have red, right? If we import isActive from Roxy Routify,
Oh, it'll automatically do the active class? Wow.
The class active equals isActive, and then child.path. Is that working? It's going to be real awkward if it's not working, isn't it?
Looks like it's showing two different ones as active.
Yeah. That's very strange. This is what happens when you do stuff live, right?
Yeah, and it looked like it was still in beta, right?
It is, yeah. Routify 3 is in beta. Debugging time, I guess. We can just do a console.log.
Jacob said it's working, but you're using children instead of pages.
Oh.
Ah. So now it's just showing the pages.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. But that doesn't fix the isActive bug take. I know it's my fault, but child.path is undefined. Interesting. Oh, just because I console logged it. Well done. Okay. That usually works. It might be, but it's probably because I'm doing something wrong.
Trying to see isActive, class active. isActive is when you're passing child.path to the isActive. Is that a store?
No.
Yeah, something's happening there.
So it is working. It's just not the in the console log is fine. I'm not sure why the class is being weird. That's very weird. It might just be a Routify bug, but this should work because according to the console logs, it works. So that's helpful.
Is it that you have child.name? Where is the undefined coming from? Is that from the Svelte self?
No, that was the console log.
Oh, okay.
So you can ignore that. It might be because of it might just oh wait, hang on. I reckon it might be because of it's on the list element and not the anchor.
Expected a semicolon.
Yeah. There we go. Get rid of that. There we go. That's fixed it. It's because the other li elements were inheriting the color. So like you can see, like if I click between these, the color changes, right? And A is always staying active. But if we had more pages down here, like B would not be active. So if I added like a B page here, you see B is not active. But if I click on this, B is now active and hello's active.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's so many helpers in Routify, and like the docs, they're a good place to start if you're on V3 Routify Dev, and then you click on the docs button. But yeah, does anyone have any more questions?
Yep. If anyone has questions, you can type them in the YouTube chat, or we're watching the events channel in the Discord too. If you want to join us there. That is, we'll get the link to that. go. Yeah. You want to pull up the Routify docs and show what Jake's talking about there?
Yeah, okay.
Are there any more questions?
So,
Oh, yeah. So can you some questions?
look here, this uses a generated navigation. So it as you click around, we have all of these, everything in this nav is represented by a file, and it's probably a markdown file using MD specs. And as you click around, this would be the isActive helper as well, showing you all these different things. And this is just going to be all generated, and none of this navigation has to be manually defined.
Okay, we got a couple questions here. Someone was asking, WebJetta was asking, so Node is specific to Routify. That node is coming from Routify, right?
Yes, so the node helper is a Routify helper. There's probably docs on it somewhere here. The docs are very much lagging behind at the moment because they're not the main focus of like actually developing the features, but quite a lot of the stuff for Routify 3 is on the docs, and everything for Routify 2 is obviously on the docs. But Routify 2 won't work inside of SvelteKit. It's just Routify 3. Yeah, Gabrielle asked if there's any navigation components. There's not, that I know of at least, but there might be. You can certainly make one and open source it if you wanted.
Yeah, I think you could probably use any open source component library as for like a navigation component, and then just pull in the Routify stuff into that too.
So if you just wanted, say, all of the top level links. So for example, if I just made like a nav2 component here, and I use this nav2.
Jake noted that you could find more about the nodes under concepts in the docs.
Yeah, okay. If I just pulled in that nav2 and I did the same thing where I export that node, you can just have like your standard nav bar, but for each of the links, whether that's like an ordered link or just a bunch of A tags, you can just use like, for example, like this. So each node.pages as child. You can just have this. So child.name and child.path. And this would just be like your standard navigation. This would just be like passing an object, right? You could literally just arbitrarily make your own object. It'd be the exact same, except this needs less work for you because it's all just generated by the file system. And that, if I had a break, you'll see the difference. There's A and B here.
Is awesome. Mlock in Discord is asking, are there any? Oh, sorry, he just deleted it. I think he had asked it here and I missed it over in the events channel. It's hard watching multiple things. Sorry, we're still figuring this out. If you have any feedback on these two, we would love to have you over in the Discord server. We're in the Svelte Sirens channel, or right now we're in the events channel. We're hanging out in the events voice chat. Just let us know if you have anything that you would be interested in seeing in the future or things that we can do.
I think it would be best if we just point people to one space rather than having several. Like we should be announcing probably on Discord so people can go to YouTube. Because otherwise they're trying to find it in like several places.
Yep. So for right now, all of these events are being hosted and they're being put out to YouTube, and that's where everything is going to be for the video side. We do have the Svelte Sirens channel in Discord, and we're trying to get it to where we have like a meetup Q&A thing afterwards. We're bringing the Q&A to YouTube now, but we are in the Discord. Like, that's kind of the main place to reach us any other time. So when we're not live on YouTube, that would be where you want to reach us. And we're in there right now while we're doing the YouTube live. All right. If there are no other questions, and Willow, do you have anything else to show?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Like I said, come join us in the Discord. We will have another one in January to show off, and any feedback is welcome. Let us know. And thank you so much. We'll see y'all next time.
And thank you, Willie, for your talk.
Yep. Thank you, Willow. Great. Bye, everyone.